Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Will and welcome to Copper Jacket TV. So when the Biden administration was in office, I think a lot of us just expected that if a state did anything that was even slightly pro-Second Amendment that went against what the federal government was doing, we were going to see a challenge from the DOJ. Merrick Garland wasn't good at anything except for infringing on our Second Amendment rights. With that, he excelled. Well, with the next administration being Trump and Bondi, we were hoping to see some big shift and some big change that would lead us into the next golden age for the Second Amendment. Even though most of us, including myself, had very little faith in Pam Bondi, I was still hoping that there would be a culture shift that would move in and again, make some significant change. Well, unfortunately, it looks like the DOJ is still upholding Biden-era policies and still going after pro-Second Amendment change on the state level. So today we need to talk about what's going on at the DOJ attacking another pro-Second Amendment law. So let's get to it. Now, if you want to support the Second Amendment information and advocacy that we do on this channel, hit that subscribe button. It's free, it only takes a second, but it really does help us out here quite a bit. It helps us spread our message, and it helps defeat the algorithm, which is not very friendly to what we do here. So again, thank you to everybody who subscribes and for your support. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what's going on here. So I'm sure you all remember the last 4 years under the previous administration. It was a nightmare. We didn't know exactly what was going to happen on a day-to-day basis. You know, they created the quote-unquote Office of Gun Violence Prevention, which was basically a taxpayer-funded department that would give the administration ideas on how to infringe on our rights. And we didn't know if executive orders were going to come down that we would have to battle against. I mean, every single day it was a challenge. You know, the Republicans maintained control of the House, but did not have control of the Senate nor the White House and so forth. And so every single day we were just fighting to retain our Second Amendment rights instead of what we're doing now, which is pushing forward, trying to restore some of our Second Amendment rights. Well, during that very stressful time period, at least one state could read the tea leaves and recognize that there could be some new federal infringements handed down at any time and decided to protect the Second Amendment rights of their citizens. And so the state of Missouri passed the Second Amendment Preservation Act, which in my mind is an absolutely beautiful law. It basically is the state of Missouri saying that we're not going to allow the federal government to infringe on the Second Amendment rights of our citizens. And we're certainly not going to allow our people to help you do it. If you do, then you're going to get a fine, there's going to be some other punishments and so forth. That to me was beautiful. Well, obviously the Biden administration and the DOJ didn't like that very much. And so they said that that was unconstitutional. Now, obviously, it goes through the court system. The courts end up siding with the federal government, and it makes its way all the way up to the Supreme Court. Now, it makes its way up to the Supreme Court under the Biden administration. Well, now we have the new administration, right? Maybe they'll back off it a little bit and allow Missouri to protect its citizens' rights. Well, if that's what you thought, you'd be wrong. Because apparently, even under the new administration and Pam Bondi's DOJ, they are still fighting to overturn the Second Amendment Preservation Act. So this is basically what's going on, and this is why what's happening at the current DOJ is so messed up. So back in November of 2024, under the previous administration, the state of Missouri asked the Supreme Court for an extension, which was granted by the Supreme Court. Since then, a couple briefs have been filed in support of Missouri's SAPA law. They were filed by the Gun Owners of America, of course, they're always on top of things, and by the state of Nevada. And since then, there's been a couple more extensions. Now, you would think that the current DOJ, since again, this started under the previous DOJ, you would think that the current DOJ would ask the Supreme Court to take this case and answer these questions, since the lower courts told Missouri that they're not allowed to do what they're doing. They said that the SAPA law is unconstitutional in its entirety. So again, you would think that the current DOJ, being, supposedly more pro-Second Amendment, would ask the Supreme Court to take it, but instead we got this. So what you're looking at right here is the brief of respondent, United States in opposition, and this was just filed on June 10th of 2025. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all 17 pages of this administration's DOJ filing their opposition to the Supreme Court accepting Missouri's SAPA case. So all we have to do is look at the very bottom here. After they opposed it for 17 pages, they write the petition for writ of certiorari should be denied. Now, what's really interesting here is that the state of Missouri has already introduced a new bill at the state level, which is another Second Amendment Preservation Act. It is slightly amended, slightly different from the first, and maybe it won't receive the same challenges as before, but the state of Missouri is already prepared for the Supreme Court not to take this, because we all know the Supreme Court has not been taking Second Amendment cases. They don't really care very much. They treat it like a second-class right. And so if this one gets smacked down by the Supreme Court, the state of Missouri is ready to pass another Second Amendment Preservation Act, a slightly different one. So good game you're playing there, Missouri. I really like that. Nonetheless, I expected better from this current administration. I don't know. I don't know if I expected better from this administration or I was just hoping for better. I guess I was just hoping for better, because so far what we've seen are a lot of investigations, maybe backing out of some lawsuits, but I haven't seen any major change. Nothing that really says, hey, look, we're going to stand up for your Second Amendment rights. We support it. We're going to overturn this. We're going to stop that. We're going to change things at the ATF. We're going to do, whatever it takes to uphold people's constitutional rights. I haven't really seen anything major. So far, again, it's just been kind of a tit for tat here and there type of thing. So I guess, like I said before, I was just hoping maybe they would do better this time. Regardless, the DOJ is still siding against the Second Amendment when a state's just trying to protect their citizens. So I wanted to let you guys know about that, and I want to thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and you all have a great day.